Hey guys. So during this whole social distancing thing over the last several days, we have partaken of more Disney movies than we have in quite some time. One of my son's favorite is Frozen 2. And there's a song in there that, I don't know, I kind of like. It's the Lost in the Wood ones. You know, that 80s rendition with the reindeer singing in the background. You know, the whole idea that he's lost in the woods because he needs to find love, and that without his lovely significant other that he has no idea where to go. Have you ever been lost in the woods? I remember one very distinct time whenever I was out deer hunting. The fog was so incredibly heavy I couldn't hardly see my hand in front of my face. I really didn't have any idea where I was going. And I was just kind of trying to put one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, take one step at a time, if you will. Eventually I ended up in some field way over. I don't even know how I got there. But eventually I just decided to just sit down because it was the only thing I could do. I couldn't keep moving forward. I had no idea where to go. I suspect that for some of you right now, that's exactly how you feel. You're in the middle of this pandemic. Your illusion of control has been shattered, and you feel like you're lost in the woods with a dense fog around you, going, where in the world is my hand? Where in the world am I supposed to be going? I have no idea what to do. When we find ourselves in the midst of these chaotic situations where our daily schedules have been thrown for a loop, we've been stuck in the house, and our emotions are running high, when we're not really sure what's going to happen next, we can have this feeling of anxiety, maybe even a sense of depression of what am I supposed to do now? Where do I go from here? I want to suggest that there are 3 books that might help you work through that. For those of you who are experiencing those feelings of anxiety, these 3 books have some pretty good ideas, some pretty practical applications of how to work through that. For those of you who are just bored and need some extra reading material, these are good books as well. They are Get Out of Your Head by Jeannie Allen, The Next Right Thing by Emily P. Freeman, and The Truths We Must Believe by Chris Thurman. When we're feeling overwhelmed, when situations such as this pandemic emerge and our illusion of control has been shattered, we have to realize that we can control how we react. We can't necessarily control everything around us, but we can control ourselves. And the first most important thing for us to practice is avoid the word shouldn't. We have a tendency to tell ourselves, well, this shouldn't have happened. We shouldn't be experiencing this. I shouldn't be stuck in my house. People shouldn't be. We use the idea of shouldn't over and over again. Now, it's only natural for us to look back and wonder what could have been different. It's only natural for us to feel like, man, I really don't want this this situation to have been thrust upon me. But if we're not careful, using this idea of shouldn't can kind of create a dream world. And in doing so, we end up avoiding reality. And all that does is increase our anxiety because our mind races of why this shouldn't be happening rather than how we can get through it. It's also important for us, or the second thing, I guess, that is important when you're kind of feeling lost in the woods, if you will, in the midst of the dense fog, is the replacement principle. The replacement principle is found in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Just prior to the verse we just read, Paul has instructed the church at Philippi to rejoice in everything. I don't know about you, but there are times in life when I don't really feel like rejoicing. I suspect that for many of you, this is one of those times when some of you are facing, am I going to have a job? Some of you are wondering, when are my kids going to go back to school? Some of you are wondering, how are we going to make this financially? And you probably don't feel like rejoicing very much. Well, Paul expresses that the way we come to grips, if you will, the way that we choose to find, the way that we choose to work our way through that dense fog is by utilizing the replacement principle. Looking, is there anything excellent or praiseworthy about where we find ourselves? If you're feeling frustrated, anxious, is there anything excellent or praiseworthy about what you're experiencing or the situation in which you're in at the moment? You're trapped at home, you're stuck at home. Well, is there anything excellent or praiseworthy about that? Could be, I'm getting to spend time with my family. It could be, well, I'm getting caught up on all the shows I was behind on. Could be, well, I'm getting to spend more time with God than what I have in the past. Is there anything at all that can be described as excellent or praiseworthy that you can focus on? Now, this isn't attempting to ignore the situation that's around us. We're not trying to pretend that everything's okay. No, what we're trying to do is avoid being overcome with negativity. We're trying to avoid being so overwhelmed by the things that are going on around us that we spiral into the idea of anxiety and be so overcome with anxiety that we can't really function. Instead, what we're going to look to do is find, is there anything at all that is excellent or praiseworthy about this particular situation, and choose to focus upon it. Now, that's going to require some prayer. In fact, it's probably going to require a lot of prayer. It's a habit you kind of have to develop. So in your prayers, I want you to take your frustrations to God. He's certainly big enough to be able to handle them. And just pour your heart out to him. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. Help me to find something excellent or praiseworthy in it. Something that I can describe as positive. Now, the reason why we're doing this is to try and calm our mind. Because we need our mind to be able to be calm to think about what to do next. If you've ever found yourself lost, you know you're trying to get to your destination, but you're predominantly just trying to do the next step, trying to know, where do I go from here? Where do I go next? Well, when we've accepted the reality of the situation, when we have kind of calmed our mind through looking for something that is excellent or praiseworthy, looking for the silver lining, well, now we're ready to take that next step. And that involves doing the next right thing. Chances are you've heard that phrase before. What it describes is just kind of the idea of putting one foot in front of the other, of, I don't know where I'm going to go from here. We don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. We don't know what next week is going to look like. We certainly don't know what a month or something from now is going to look like. But we do know what we should probably do next. For some of you, you should go wash those dirty dishes that are in your sink after you finish this video. For some of you, you should go play a board game like Settlers of Catan with your family. For some of you, you need to go spend some alone time with God, and you need to pour your heart out to him. For others of you, it would be a great time for you to have a family devotional. Spend some time together praising God. Spend some time together praying to him. Spend some time together asking him to help you find that's something that is excellent or praiseworthy within your particular situation. I don't know where this scenario in life is going to take us. I don't know what life's going to look like whenever we kind of come through and the fog finally lifts. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like for us. But I do know that we will have been changed and we will have grown through this particular process. I would like for you to be able to make it through that with as little anxiety as possible. My prayer for you is that you won't find this spiral of anxiety. And you can kind of set yourselves up for making it through wholly, if you will, by choosing to do the things that we've already talked about, by choosing to avoid the idea of shouldn't, by choosing to not allow yourself to get caught up in that dream world, but accept the reality of this particular situation, by choosing to look for the positive, focusing on the replacement principle, and choosing to take just the next step. I want to close with a quote that I found pretty helpful. It's from Ann Patchett in her book, What Now? Sometimes the circumstances at hand force us to be braver than we actually are, and so we knock on doors and ask for assistance. Sometimes not having any idea where we're going works out better than we could have possibly imagined. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you strength as you choose to not focus on shouldn't, but accept reality. As you choose to practice the replacement principle, looking for that which is excellent or praiseworthy. And as you choose to take the next step, to do the next right thing, so that together we can come out of this fog. Together we too can make it to our destination.